Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is Saturday morning and I'm back in the shop. First order of business. Fired up the 75. We did some carburetor repairs to that. It started and ran, so that's a good thing. Cautiously optimistic. The last time we had the needle stick and we cleaned it and got it running again, it sat for about a week and it didn't start, so it seems like we're making progress. Let me show you what we got going on here. We got Snowzilla here, my new 36-inch Ariens Professional. We'll show you that later when we dive into that. But we are back on the Ariens Predator. We're gonna see if we can get some progress on this. It's been too long. Alright, first little update. Doesn't look much, but it's good progress here. I got all of the engine mounting bolts in and tightened. That was the bottleneck, which kind of put the project on halt when I busted that bearing housing. Even with that bearing housing out of the way, you can see there's not, I can't even really show you, there's not really much access to get up through there. So I feel really good about that. But now we have to fix the broken parts, unfortunately. So that is the next step. The plan is to make a tool to grab onto this and weld the socket onto that, and then use the impact to loosen this, because that piece is aluminum and there's no real way to hold that I have found, that I've figured out. On the snowblower forum, someone mentioned taking one of these couplings and welding a socket onto it and making a tool that way. Unfortunately, I don't have a sacrificial coupling, so we're gonna do it the redneck way and find parts, scavenge pieces from whatever we can around here and make a tool. So that'll be the next step. I'll show you some of that progress when we get there. So I just walked around a bit and was checking out what I could scrounge up, but it just occurred to me that I actually may have a sacrificial coupling that I can use to make this tool. So I'm going to take you to the other shop and introduce you to the parts unit I'm going to be robbing parts off of. The lighting's going to be poor, apologize for that, but yeah, let's go check it out. Alright, here's the parts unit. I dragged it out for you so you can see I'm going to have to get it out anyway. Fortunately it doesn't roll, which makes it difficult to move. I'll just grab the tractor and the forks to bring it down to the shop. Okay, this is what I believe a 1974, we'll call it a 824. It's 8 horsepower Tecumseh 24-inch clearing path. Basically what I'm working with, just a bigger engine. A couple different differences with the bigger motor, but I picked this up with the intention of it being a parts unit. The whole transmission underneath whatever is, I don't even know what I'm gonna find when I pop that cover, but it doesn't roll, so something's stuck. This lever doesn't really move free like it should, but it has a bunch of parts I can use for, you know, the Ariens project, as well as many others that I've got. The first thing is the bars are intact, which I've got the perfect snowblower those could be used on that has busted bars. This piece is missing on the Ariens Predator. While this is in bad shape, they pretty much all are cracked. It's something. It's better than nothing. And it should have the part I need, the bearing housing. And the other thing I was really interested in, you probably won't be able to notice if you don't really know these things, but that chute is taller than what would have been on this stock. And that is a pretty popular mod to these old snow throws, is to put a taller chute on so it has a little bit better spray pattern. But that is a taller chute, and I didn't know if that was factory or just something somebody added. With a little bit of research, I think it's just from a later model. One of the interesting points was how the paint was flaking off. That wouldn't do that. Like that top piece is original. The paint's not flaking off like that. So this was added from a later Ariens, but it bolts right up and it works good and it kind of looks cool. So I think I'm going to end up using it on this project. But the other thing is the chute rod. It's got that back bracket with a universal joint, which the 7 horsepower didn't need. So I'm going to use that bracket because I do have to fabricate some kind of a different chute turning rod with the Predator engine, because on mine, on the chute rod runs right up through where the head and carb and new engine is going to be. So that's one thing, but mainly because it was cheap and it's going to have the bearing housing that I need to fix this one. But I'm not going to do anything with this blower. This will just be used for parts for the gearbox or whatever, but I think I could take the coupling off the back of this snowblower, and it seems to be stuck on the back impeller bearing, so I might hold it so I can get it off, whatever I need to do. I'm not sure how that comes off, but we're fixing to find out. So yeah, I'm gonna start tearing into this thing and seeing what we can accomplish. Got the belt cover off. First look in there, it's pretty crusty, dirty, nasty. All right, as you can see, I've got this split apart. It's pretty rusty, crusty in here. I'm actually not sure how that comes apart. I'm not sure this is the one that I want to learn on, because it'll just be way more effort, and if I'm not doing it right, it's going to be pointless. So, but one thing I did notice that's disappointing, I'm not sure if you can see that, but there is gobs of play in this axle. I was kind of hoping that those would be good so I can use them, because I do need them for this project, but looks like now I'll just have to order them from Ariens. I think they're still available, which sucks because I just placed an order and I'll have to pay double for shipping. Maybe I can get them from a local dealer and avoid shipping. But yeah, so it's pretty rusty crusty, but this part seems to be free, so that's reasonably free. It's not locked up, but I do have to get it spinning, because to loosen the bolts I got to go in through the front hole. So I'm not sure. This might just be twice as much effort than it needs to be, but we're in it. The reasons are just piling up at why this is going to be just a great parts unit and not ever going to snowball again. So all right, I'm back. I got the bottom cover off and I got a pretty good understanding of why it is stuck and not rolling. That is an insane amount of dirt that's lodged up in there. Hopefully the part I need isn't all nastied up. But wow, I don't even know. I really don't even know how that gets like that, to be honest with you. I can detect a little bit of play in these bearings. Maybe I'll be swapping those out as well. I'm gonna keep digging and tearing down, and I'll bring it back when I have any updates. This won't even spin. It's not completely stuck per se, so maybe I can get that freed up because that'll make it easier to get disassembled. But this definitely has to be able to spin free. I'm not sure what that's hitting on. So, okay, I'm gonna go back to work. Okay, got the tires off. Let me just show you how much play there is in this axle. That's insane. That was wearing right up into the orange housing. It also is missing the knob to lock in the differential. I'm assuming this model should have it, but it's missing. But yeah, I don't care if I have to take every piece out of this. We're gonna get the parts that we need. There's just not even much for usable parts. Even the tire chains are pretty well spent. So yeah, I'm gonna keep working. I'm back in the shop, and as you can see here, I've got the piece that I'm after. I was actually mistaken. I thought I was gonna have to definitely swap pulleys, because on that 8-horse model it uses a wider belt than this one. Looks to be pretty identical, but I'm still gonna change this and go the original plan of making the tool to spin this off, just because that pulley's not in as good a shape as the one that came off. That's gonna clean up nice. That one's kind of rusty, crusty, pitted. Also, I do want to look at the bearings in this because they're pretty noisy and they have some play. Now's the time to change that stuff out. The other thing I gotta source is these bushings that go in here on either side. They're just more loose than I really feel comfortable installing right now. Now's the time to change that stuff. Let me take you back out to the other shop and show you the pile of parts we got and the mess we got. Here's the old 8-horsepower parts unit. Pretty well tore apart. It's nice working on something like this because a lot of it's not worth saving anyway, so you can kind of be a little bit more, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Let's just say I didn't hack it, but I wasn't trying to save it either. So this thing just needs so much, and that's wore right into the side. This is just not worth saving. I hate to scrap something like this, but I'll take the parts off that are usable, probably save that engine. I don't even know if it's locked up or not. It spins, so definitely, at the very least, more than likely a good block there to build off of for a future project. Yeah, I hate to scrap something, but this thing is so rough. It was not treated very kindly, either when it was in service or just sitting out. I have to imagine, though, it was ran a long time for those axle bushings to be wore like that, and that might have been the final nail in the coffin for this thing. I bet you if I wanted to go through the effort, that motor would probably run, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna just, like I said, strip what parts I need, strip what parts I think could be good, and probably just scrap the rest, unfortunately. Let's head back to the shop. So we're back in the shop. Yeah, it kills me to strip something like that and then scrap the rest, but as plentiful as those are, it's not really worth even trying to bring that back to life. You can get good running whole units for 50 bucks or less. Case in point. I'll tell a story on that machine sometime, but yeah, so we're going to continue making that tool. It is becoming more and more apparent that I'm not going to get this project to the point that I wanted to today, but hopefully I can get that bearing housing installed back in the machine. Oh no, I can't even do that because I got to get bearings. So yeah, I'm going to go work on that tool. And I'm just about getting ready to wrap up for the day. We did get one apart. Definitely want to replace the bearings, and I'd keep going on this, but I just don't have the time to commit to this today. But I did one little final touch. Talked about taking that nameplate off the other parts unit, and I got it on there, and that's more of a finishing touch than what I should be focused on, but it's starting to look like something, that's for sure. So I'm gonna go do some research, get some parts, and hopefully the next time I'm in the shop I can get this back together. I don't know if I really have enough for a video today, but we'll see what I got. Hello everybody, here is the Ariens Predator swap. I was able to get in the shop and get some work done. I did not film, unfortunately. Just thought that making progress was more important than filming, and you know, filming adds a lot of time and energy, and I just really wanted to get this done. This has been just an absolute thorn in my side. This was supposed to be a quick project. Look at that. It's got cobwebs growing on it. So I have a few pictures I can pop up to show you at the end of what I did, but basically what I did is I got that new, well, the used bearing support for the pulley. Got the bearing swapped out, got everything swapped out on that. Ended up not making a tool, just made do with what I could find around the house and got her done. That was the hold up this whole time. I got the axle bushings changed. That actually went together really nice. There's not hardly any clearance. It was a tight fit sliding the axle back in. So I'm really happy about that. But I just have to say, I hate working on things. I especially hate working on snow blowers. It is just a nightmare. There's no room for anything. You're contorted. Sounds like the dad's running down here, but yeah, I got the guard off the mower. I might need a new belt for that. Probably pull the guard off the snow blower to do the first fire, and the next video is going to be that first fire, engine break-in, and probably the first use. Thanks for tuning in.